Hey guys, it's the nerd half of this NerdTroverts duo, and today I'm coming at you with a book haul. So this is both my first ever book haul and probably one of the biggest book hauls I will ever do, as it is a combination of buying books for uni, getting gifted books for my birthday, and buying books while overseas. I'm going to start with my birthday books and then the books that I bought overseas and then my uni books, because the uni books are the ones that I am least interested in. The first book that I got for my birthday is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappina. This book, I believe, is about a girl, I think she has anxiety, and she is a well-known fan artist online. But she's completely anonymous, so like no one actually knows who she is, but they all love her art. And she's a bit of a reject at school, like a bit of a loner, doesn't have any friends. And one day a new boy transfers to her school and she finds out he is a massive fan of her art. And I think they form a sort of friendship, but she doesn't tell him that it's her art. I think. I don't know, I guess I'll find out. But I'm very excited to read this book. The next book that I got is the Brooklyn's Magic House... What? Brooklyn's House Magician's Manual. I wasn't gonna remember that. Which is by Rick Riordan and is an accompaniment to the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. This is like Camp Half-Blood Confidential or The Hotel's Guide to Valhalla, which are just sort of like side books to a trilogy or a series that just sort of breaks down characters and places that you see within the series. The next two books that I got are Down Among the Sticks and Bones and Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shauna Maguire. These are sequels to Every Heart a Doorway, and from what I understand, this one is a bit of a prequel and follows two of the girls and their story before Every Heart a Doorway. I have no idea what this one is because I don't want to spoil it for myself. As far as I know, I think it's like a proper sequel, like it's set after the events of the first book. So Every Heart a Doorway, if you do not know, is about these group of kids that are all sort of staying at kind of like a boarding school, because at some point in their life they all entered a magical doorway which led them to a magical world with different sort of rules and stuff. Like the worlds are all very different, and for some reason they've all come back through that doorway and have to deal with the fact that they are back in the real world. And so this is a prequel in a magic world, and once again I don't really know what this one's about and I don't want to spoil it for myself, but I'm very excited for these two books. Next book is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. So I have heard so much about this book, but I don't actually really know what the plot of this book is. It is about, I think it's like a group of like high school people. I'm not sure if they're like friends or not, but they sort of get dragged into a magical world, I believe, and probably have to save the world and stuff because that's how books go. I'm a little worried that I'm not gonna like it because books that I've been really hyped for before have kind of let me down. But I have faith. I have faith in this book because my friend liked it. And I have faith in her and her judgment of books. And the last book that I got for my birthday is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This book, once again, I've just seen talked about so much. I've heard it's really good. And even though I'm not 100% sure of the plot, I cannot wait to read it. From what I understand, it's set in the future. I think it's a dystopian future, either that or it's like a proper fantasy novel, but I think it's more of a dystopian. I'm not sure. And I think it's about sort of like the future's equivalent of like a cop and a rebel who, due to circumstances, have to team up for a reason or two and probably fall in love because that's how these books go. But I've just heard so many great things about this book and I just cannot wait to read it, even though this book is massive. This is gonna take me forever, but I'm so excited. I say it's gonna take me forever, but I read like Kingdom of Ash in like 2 days, so it could just take me a day. Depends on how much I like it. I'm gonna include these next two books in here because I technically bought them, but I bought them in Australia because they're sequels. So I'm just gonna like get these ones done real quick. Next up I have Wonder Smith by Jessica Townsend, which is the sequel to Nevermore. Nevermore, if you don't know, is basically about this girl who is destined to die because she is cursed. But on the day she's meant to die, she is saved by this guy who takes her to the wonderful place of Nevermore and finds out that she has a quirk And due to her quirk, which is kind of like a magic power or a magic ability, she has a chance of getting into this like prestigious school, and it's all about her going through the trials to get to this school. And this falls, I believe, directly after that, and I don't want to spoil what it's about because it spoils the ending of the first book. The next book is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in a trilogy of the Dark Artifices, which is one of the many trilogies in the Shadowhunters Chronicles, so like the Mortal Instruments, Infernal Devices, the Dark Artifices. Artificers. Artificers? Artificers. I don't know. I didn't like the book before, Lord of Shadows, but I am still really excited to read the conclusion to this story, which basically just follows this family, the Blackthorn family. There's like a lot of siblings, and it's all about them trying to survive and figure out who they are as people, I guess. And there is like an overarching plot of like two people who like are in love but aren't meant to be in love, but like I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about the actual characters. Moving on to the books that I bought while in America. Most of these I bought in New York at like Barnes & Noble and the Strand, but one book I bought in Hawaii. Now all of these books are the ones I got from Barnes & Noble. First up I have the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. So I bought the whole trilogy, and I pretty much just bought these books because the spines match up and I really adore these covers. I already own the Infernal Devices in the UK paperback edition, I guess is the edition that they are. But I just absolutely loved these editions so much. And the Infernal Devices are just my absolute favourite of the Shadowhunter stories. So I bought them in this really pretty matching spine cover, and I love them so much. Basically, the Infernal Devices series follows a girl called Tessa, and she discovers that maybe she's not as normal as she thought. The next book that I bought is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So They Both Die at the End is about these two boys, Rufus and Mateo, who wake up on the morning to an alert that tells them that they are both going to die that day. So this is like set in like the future, like the near future, where people are now aware of the day they're going to die, but they don't know how and they don't know when in that day. But before that day is up, they will die, no exceptions. And so these two boys join this sort of, it's kind of like a Tinder, but like less for sex. And it's called The Last Friend, and basically you meet up with other people who are also going to die that day. You make a friendship and you spend that day with a friend. And these boys, for whatever reason, both need a friend that day, and they find each other. Now it is a romance novel, and it is a bit of a well-written romance because it's all set in one day, but it is just such a cute, lovely, heartbreaking book, and I highly recommend it. Next I have Three Dark Crowns by Kendall Blake. This book is basically about these three queens who have to fight it out to get the crown and become like ultimate queen. So they are triplets, and in this world triplets are born every generation, and every generation they have to fight it out to see which queen would be the ultimate queen. And all three queens have a different power. You've got the naturalist, the poisoner, and the elementalist, and this book is basically all about meeting the queens, seeing what kind of people they are and what kind of queens they would be. So I guess in the next book you can root for your favourite. Next I bought Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell in this like exclusive, not exclusive, but like special edition. It's got like little artwork inside. So Fangirl is about a fangirl in college. It's about this girl called Kath who goes to college with her twin sister Ren, who is like her complete opposite. Like Ren is like outgoing and flirty and like party-ish type, I guess, and then Kath is like introverted, wants to stay inside and read and write and not interact with anybody ever. So basically me. And it's basically just about Kath trying to get through college while also trying to finish up her very well received and very popular fan fiction. It's basically just a cute contemporary story about someone trying to get through college. Next I bought What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli, and I'm in love with it because it is also signed. It's my first ever signed book. and I'm so excited about it. This book basically follows these two very different boys who meet by chance in New York, and it's all about them just trying to find each other again because they hit it off rather well. So Arthur is Becky Albertalli's character, and Arthur is very romantic and believes in love at first sight and destiny, and is just very cute and has never been in a relationship before, but is very excited at the prospect of dating someone. Whereas Ben is Adam Silvera's character, and Ben just broke up with his boyfriend and is sort of a bit more pessimistic in his view of the world, which very much suits the writer's style. If you've ever read Becky Albertalli or Adam Silvera, you would not need me to spell out who wrote who to understand who wrote who. Does that make sense? So as I said, this book is just about these two boys trying to find each other again and see whether or not a relationship between the two of them would actually work. And I highly recommend this book. It is very good. The next book is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. So History Is All You Left Me is about our protagonist Griffin, who has just lost the love of his life, Theo. But before Theo died, him and Griffin had actually broken up, and Theo had started seeing a new boy called Jackson. Now, at Theo's funeral, Griffin and Jackson form an unlikely friendship as they are both dealing with the same grief. So this book jumps back and forth between past and present, and this book very much follows Griffin very heavily. It's very much a character-based story, and it's about how Griffin is sort of being overcome by his compulsive tendencies as he has OCD, and it sort of is becoming worse in his grief, and he's not dealing with it in the way that he probably should be. All of these books are the ones that I got from the Strand, and first up I got Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This book is about a girl called Stevie who goes to this very prestigious school which is for students to study sort of one particular area that they are very gifted in. And the reason Stevie is so excited to be going to this school is because at this school a couple decades ago there was a kidnapping and a murder, and Stevie wants to solve it. The kidnapper and murderer is known as Truly Devious, hence the title, and while Stevie is trying to solve this murder, Truly Devious acts up again, even though Truly Devious should be dead. And it is very suspenseful, and is basically just about Stevie trying to figure out this mystery while also dealing with typical teenage drama. And the next book that I got is Let's Talk About Love by Claire Khan. So this book follows a biromantic asexual protagonist, hell yes, and basically it starts when her girlfriend breaks up with her because she finds out that Alice, our protagonist, is asexual. Now this sort of makes her swear off dating because all of her previous partners have just not understood her being asexual, and she decides that she's just not going to date for a while because no one gets it, and she's sick of people treating her the way that she's being treated. But when a new co-worker starts at her work named Takumi, she starts feeling some really intense romantic attraction towards him and sort of doesn't understand what to do about it. She is kind of afraid of the rejection that she might get because she's asexual, and she's not sure whether or not she should act on her feelings. The next book that I got is Before I Let Go by an author whose name I don't know how to pronounce, so I'm going to try, but it's not going to sound very good. Mariaki Nijkamp. So I picked up this book thinking that it was a different book, and I didn't have internet at the time to check, and I just sort of was like, yeah, I've seen this cover, I'm sure it's this one. Got home, wasn't the book that I thought it was. I'm still thinking it's going to be an interesting read. So this novel is basically about this guy in this town, and he's about to meet up with his friend, but his friend suddenly dies, and while he's trying to investigate why his friend has died, he discovers some things about his town that I guess are shocking and possibly bad. And from what I understand, I think the town's like a cult, but I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm very eager to find out. The last book that I got at the Strand is The Artemis Fowl Files by Ian Colfer. This is just an accompaniment to the Artemis Fowl series, and I don't really know what it's about. I'm assuming it just breaks down places and characters and the mythology, so like the creatures that are in this book. And I'm guessing that's pretty much all it is. Nothing like super exciting, but I really love the Artemis Fowl series, and I haven't read it in so long, and the movie's coming out, and I saw this and I was like, yes, I have to buy this. And the one book that I bought in Hawaii was Percy Jackson, The Ultimate Guide by Rick Riordan. This, once again, is just an accompaniment to the Percy Jackson series. I already have like 3 of these. This is just another one. This was written after The Last Olympian and basically just breaks down characters and Camp Half-Blood and some of the events that happened, I guess, and is just a cute little book that is in the Percy Jackson world. And while I was in America, I tried looking for this book. I couldn't find it, so I just ordered it online, and it was at my house by the time I got home, and that is the collector's edition of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I really love the Throne of Glass series, and this cover is just so pretty that I was like, I have to own this, and just sort of like impulse bought it on the spot, and I'm so happy that I did. I don't know if there have been any editing changes within the story itself because I haven't reread it, but I love this cover so much. Now that is all of the fun books. The only ones we have left are the uni books, but I don't know what most of them are actually about because I don't actually really want to read them. So for these ones, I don't think I'll go into detail about what they're actually about because I don't know for about 50% of these books. So I'll just show you the books and the title. And if you want to know the basics of what all these books are, they're, I guess, speculative fiction because the course is issues in speculative fiction. A few of them are sci-fi, and then I think there's 1 or 2 fantasy novels. So I got The Time Machine by H.G. Wells and Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. Next is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien and Dune by Frank Herbert. The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin and The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. And the last one is Monstrous Regiment by Terry Pratchett. So that is all of my many books that I either received or bought in pretty much just the month of December and maybe like the end of November. And I cannot wait to read all these books. I probably read about 50% of them already just because it took me so long to film this video. But it is time for them to get off of my floor and onto my bookshelf. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to see more from us. And all of our videos will be linked on screen at the end and down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! There is no way in hell. No way in hell. How do people do this? Like all the time. I literally can't reach the bottom of this pile. Nah mate, nah mate.